There are two different ways that you can use the actual Etsy website itself to help you do keyword research for your listings. The first method is going to be by using the search bar, and the second method is going to be by looking at competitors' listings. So we'll look at those one by one. First, I've got Etsy's homepage up here, and I'm going to go up to this search bar. Now, when you type in different keywords here, Etsy is going to autofill and prompt you for some other things that people have searched relevant to what you put in. Now, before we even type anything in, one interesting feature is you can just click on this box here, and it's going to show you search terms that are popular right now, especially in the country that you're located. This doesn't really help when you're trying to find keywords for specific products, but if you were looking for inspiration in the moment, there might be something here that inspires you. For now, let's pretend that we are trying to sell birthday party invitations or some sort of invitation template. The word that I want to type in here is invitation. And we can see all these other keywords pop up in relation to invitation. Now, these are all things that people are actually searching for. Etsy recommends them because they're common. Now, you can click on any of these to see the results that come up, or you can just continue typing. So let's try templates next. And even more keywords. And at this point, we're starting to get into long tail keywords versus short tail. Now, some of these could be relevant to the item you're selling, or this could also be a great way to get inspiration for more products you could sell if you already sell invitation templates, for example, but you wanted more ideas of examples of categories or variations you could make. This method works for pretty much any kind of item. As you see here, when I type in the word dress, it gives me both dresses and dressers and dressing gowns. So a lot of variations on the word that aren't actually relevant to what I'm looking for. But you can use this kind of tool to help narrow down even further keywords. So if I type in dress for, it gives me all these examples of subcategories of type of person who might be looking for a dress. And of course, these suggestions are going to change with the time of year, the trends that are happening right now, and any other variables that make things come and go through popularity. So that's pretty straightforward, but that's a really easy, free way to find keywords that people are actually searching for on Etsy. Now, the second method for using the website itself for keyword research is to look at a competitor's products. These 5 items are popular right now, so let's just click on one of them and see what kind of keywords they're using. So first of all, you can see here in the title, this is how they're using a list of keywords. You could borrow from some of these if they are relevant to your product. As we scroll down, this is the description of the product. Now you can see here that they've actually kind of included a list of keywords, which I don't really recommend because this is just the section that we see without learning more about this item. So I would actually put this kind of list a little bit further down in the description. That's just a personal preference, so it doesn't look as computer generated. But there are lots of phrases in this text that you could borrow as keywords as well. And if you scroll all the way to the very bottom, there's some interesting information right here. So first of all, we have explore related searches. So these are some other keywords that are related to this item. And these are definitely great options for you to use as keywords yourself. You can also take the words that we see here and try typing them into the Etsy search bar and see what auto-generates. You may be able to get some additional long-tail keywords just by starting with wooden coasters, for example. And even though this isn't about keywords, there's interesting information about the categories here if you are struggling to figure out how to categorize your item. Sometimes the more abstract things, templates and digital products especially, it's hard to know what category to put them in. So you can check out your competitors, find out what they're doing down here. So I went back to the main page. I'm just going to try searching that in, wooden coaster. And you can see lots of variations of terms that you could use to more specifically label your product. You can use all of these as keywords. If they are beyond the 20 character limit, then they can't fit into the 13 keyword slots. But again, put that in your title or in the description of your text. Clearly, Etsy is really useful for doing your own keyword research. It is free, it's really quick. The only thing that it doesn't allow you to do is to see any analytics about these keywords. It doesn't give you the details about how many people are searching for them or how many search results are there, although you can click through and see the search results yourself. It's just not automated in that way. And that's why some people prefer to use a software like eRank. So in the next lesson, let's look at how to use that software if you are interested in even further keyword research tools. A popular method for doing keyword research for Etsy is to use a third-party tool or piece of software. The one that I'm showing you here on the screen is called eRank. The website is erank.com. It is one of the options that are out there that I prefer to use. Another example is Marmalede, that is very popular as well. The reason I choose eRank over Marmalede is that there is actually a free version of it, so you can do a certain number of free searches per day. For a lot of people, that is actually going to be enough because you're not always doing keyword research all the time. Maybe you're just doing it a couple of times just to get your store started. So I can't show you everything it does, but I do want to just show you what kind of results and analytics it gives you for actual keywords. So I'm just going to go up to the search bar here and search for wooden coasters because we were already looking at that. So here's the kind of results it gives you. The default marketplace it looks at is the US, and that's just because of how much buying power is there. I think it's fairly representative of other markets as well, but that is the base that they use. So it shows you right here for the term wooden coasters, we have 228 searches per month on average, 186 clicks. That's an 82% click-through rate, and basically you want a really high click-through rate. That means people who are searching for it are actually engaging with it. They're not searching and then scrolling away. The other important number is Etsy competition, so that's how many listings there are for this search term, which is 10,572. Now they use colors to indicate sort of what's good and what's bad here. You want a really low competition number and a really high search volume. So this isn't bad, but it is a very competitive market, obviously. This is information that just searching on Etsy will not give you. So, when we're looking through the Etsy search bar or scrolling on a listing, we don't actually know any of these numbers. We're just guessing that because they show up, they are in use at all. But that doesn't mean that it's not a very competitive keyword, or maybe there's not a lot of people using it in general. So that's why some people will prefer to use a software like this to get a bit more information. If I scroll down, we see other keywords that are related to this one. Now, this is actually a very short list. Normally there's dozens and dozens that show up, but I think because this is a 2-word keyword, it didn't give me a lot. But again, this is the kind of information you can access this page with a free account. It may just limit the number of searches per day you can do, so make sure you use them wisely. In terms of what data is along here that is useful, first of all, we have search trends. So if there's a seasonal peak, you can see that. That's really interesting to know, especially if you're basing your whole store around one kind of product or concept. If you realize that this product only seems to sell in January for some reason, then maybe you want to expect that. Next is the character count. This is really important. As I mentioned, you can only fit a 20-character word in the 13 keyword slots on your product listing. So this one, for example, would be too long to fit there, but you could put that in your title, but more likely in your product description. Next, we have the same data as above, but across a couple different listings. So average searches per month, average clicks per month, the click-through rate, which is about this number here, and then the Etsy competition. Up above here, this data was just for the 2-word phrase, wooden coasters, which we see is the 3rd listed here, but just the word coasters and just the word wooden, you wouldn't want to make an item based just around those concepts because there is far too much competition. We also have data here on Google searches, which is interesting, but if you're just focusing on Etsy for now or just getting started, then I wouldn't worry about those. This is an indicator as to whether the keyword is a long tail keyword, which it is good to know, just to ensure that you have a diversity of keywords. And these last 4 are long tail keywords, but as you notice, they are the ones with the fewer searches. So as you get the longer phrase, the narrower the funnel gets of number of people looking for it. Now, if I was trying to make a list of keywords to put on my listing, this would be a place that I would start to pull them from. However, we don't have a lot of options here, so let's look at a different kind of keyword to see something that has a lot of variations. Now, I've searched for the word planner here, which is a very common basic keyword. There's going to be a ton of results, and as you can see, there's almost 1 million search results, or products rather, and then 35,000 people a month searching for it. So very popular, very saturated. You would want to get much more granular and focused in terms of designing a product around this keyword. If I scroll down just vaguely, you'll see there's tons and tons of search results that are different keywords that relate to the word planner but are quite different from each other. And you can use these different filters to sort by what you're looking for. So if you wanted something with not a lot of competition, we could click on just the competition to resort, and I'm going to search it that way. So if we scroll up here, we see there's very little competition for these keywords. One search result that stands out here is garage sale planner. That doesn't have a lot of competition, but it does have a lot of people looking for it. And you can see that it's 19 characters, so that would fit in the keyword slots on your listing. So what I like to do is do these kind of searches, scroll down through here and write down a list just on some paper or on my computer of all the keywords I want to use, and then I will go back through and evaluate them afterwards. This is obviously a much more technical way to get keywords, and it does provide you with a lot of data, but it does take longer. So it's not necessarily something you need to do for your very first store or your first listings, but over time, if you find that certain products aren't performing the way you want them to, or you're not seeing a lot of views or sales, you might want to look at the keywords on that item, maybe run them through a software like this, and then reassess. So this is a tool that's not just great when you're starting out, but also great to continually check in and improve your store over time. Another place where you can identify and verify the effectiveness of keywords on your listings is through the Etsy Ads platform. This is a method that I don't recommend you use as a first line of research, but rather something that you might want to consider trying after you've built up your store a little bit. Also, as this will require you to be using Etsy Ads, there is some cost involved. The amount is up to you, but the minimum Etsy requires is a budget of $1 a day, and it needs to have at least 7 days of data to provide you with keyword insights. Now, I won't give you a whole rundown of how to use Etsy Ads because it's actually pretty simple, and their guide will provide you with all you need to get started. But if you are running an ad with them and you want to see the keywords that you're showing up for, this is how you find that information. On your Etsy dashboard, you're going to follow this sequence. Click on Marketing in the sidebar, and then on Etsy Ads. Near the top of the Ads dashboard, there's a link called Manage Advertised Listings. You can then click on Search Terms for any of the items that you're advertising, and you'll see what the keywords are that Etsy is using to get viewers looking at your products. Just here, I've blanked out the data from my ads, but this is what the listing dashboard looks like in general. Here you can see an excerpt from one of my products. The product is a book template, and I've been running a promotion on it for about 7 days now just to get some data on it. One of the interesting things here is that one keyword was flagged as having a high click rate. That means that this keyword is really effective for my product. It's not actually a keyword combination that I used anywhere, so this will help me update my listing in the future. Something else interesting to note is that even though these ad view numbers are relatively low, I did actually make a couple sales of this product in this time frame, which just goes to show how highly targeted keywords can be really, really effective. You'll see there's also a toggle for relevant keyword. This you can use to flag keywords that are not actually relevant to your product. Sometimes the algorithm can mess up, especially if your search term has a lot of similarities to another. Remember the dress and dresser. So you can use this to avoid spending your ad budget on irrelevant words. Exploring the Etsy Ads feature is not only a great way to see where your products are showing up, but also a way to understand which keywords on your listing are high value. Maybe you have other products that would fit those same keywords that you can add to their listing as well. You can also take those keywords and search for them on Etsy to see who your direct competition is, the people showing up for those exact same keywords. Check out their listings using the methods that we talked about in Lesson 3 for additional keywords that you might have missed. Sometimes we don't discover our true competitors on Etsy until we have our listings up and can see them side by side. Now that we've looked at 3 different ways that we can find and evaluate keywords for our Etsy listings, let's move on to our last lesson to see an example of all of this in action. Now that we've gone over several methods to gather keywords, let's look at an example product and the kind of keywords I would pull for it. For our sample item, let's say that we were selling this child's dress. My objective is to find 20 keywords that will work for this listing, which will give me 13 for the keyword slots, a handful for the title, and then anything extra I can put in the product description. Let's consider this item and its attributes. These will give us a starting point for keyword research. Consider the style, colors, occasion, age range, aesthetic, and any unique qualities the item might have. Using all the methods we've discussed in this course, I pulled together this list of keywords. Now, most of these keywords are somewhere between a short tail and a long tail, as they are mostly 3-word keywords, but there are a couple of longer ones, and you'll see that the word dress is repeated in almost every listing, and that's because it is the most essential keyword to describing what this item is. Now that I have all of these keywords, I'll start by selecting the best ones for the title. The keyword that I consider to be the most descriptive and most accurate is girl's tiered floral dress down here at the end, so I will use this as the first keyword in the listing title. I've pulled up a new listing on Etsy to show you where we can put those keywords in. So at the top we have our photos and videos, but if you scroll down to the listing details, the title is right here. So for our example of the girl's dress, I'm going to start with the keyword that I liked the most, which was girl's tiered floral dress. There are lots of ways you could divide it. You could just do a comma, you could do a space and a line like that, or you could do a semicolon. I think the comma is probably most common, but some people prefer other ways for aesthetic purposes. As you can see here, I have 113 characters left, so I'm just going to add in some other keywords just to fill in this box. So there we go. I was able to fit 6 keywords in the title. You can see I have 5 characters left. You can try and come up with 5 extra characters, but I'm not going to. An important thing to remember here is that the keywords are going to work in multiple ways. So when I put in girls tiered floral dress, that will show up as one keyword, but so will girls tiered floral or tiered floral dress without the word girls, and also just floral dress, because all of those keyword combinations are in this phrase. So therefore, you don't need to put floral dress again here at the end. Instead, I put summer dress because that combination wasn't somewhere else here. So now we have the title filled out. I'm going to scroll down. Here's the description box. We'll go over that last. I'm going to just scroll down to tags right here. Tags and keywords are the same thing. So in this case, I'm just going to start adding keywords from my list. You can put commas between them or just hit enter in between, and we can see that one went through just fine. But if I try a longer keyword, that one's more than 20 characters, so I can't actually use it in this space. So that's a keyword that I'm going to save to put up in the description. I won't bother typing in everything else from the list that I made, but this is how you enter keywords into the tag section. And finally, we go up to the description here, and this is where you're going to write your beautiful, informative description of your product. As I mentioned before, I would use the first couple sentences for a bit more copy that was a bit more salesy, not so much keyword filled, but just for the example, I'll integrate that keyword that didn't fit below, sustainable handmade dress, into a sentence. So again, here's an example of how you could fit that long tail keyword in. The keyword is right here, sustainable handmade dress, and I turned it into looking for a sustainable handmade dress for someone special. This hand-stitched garment was made with love right here in Nova Scotia, Canada, just as an example. And you can see I could fit, these could be other keywords as well. Hand-stitched garment could be a keyword. Even the place name could be a keyword if someone was looking to support a business from this location. So those are the places you can add your keywords on your listing. Other than that, you want to fill in all the other information as usual, and you can always go back and edit these pages. You don't have to keep your item listing the same forever, and the keyword sections like the title, description, and the tag slots here are very easy to modify going forward. So if you do a bunch of keywords the first time, decide that they're not working so well, maybe you've already done that actually, then you can come back in, edit them, and republish your listing. Then you just leave it for a little while, see how those keywords perform, and reevaluate if needed. It is a little bit of a job to keep on top of your keywords to make sure that your listings are performing, but that's just part of the maintenance that you do in running an online store, especially an Etsy store, which has so much organic traffic out there. There are millions of people searching to buy products at any minute on this platform. You just need to make sure that your products are showing up in front of them, and keywords are going to be the way that you can do that. Now we've reached the end of the course, and I hope you feel more confident approaching Etsy's keyword system. If you enjoyed this course, please do consider leaving me a review. I read all of them myself and I really appreciate it. I also offer a wide range of other courses on Etsy, e-commerce, and design, so if you like learning with me, I hope to see you in another class. Happy creating!